many. It's payday, and again, we're going to remind you this part of the year when it comes to your money, you get paid. It's not like the rest of the year where you can sort of just, use your little budget and just trying to make it from the beginning to the end. You make it November 25 pay, meaning this money's now going to take you all the way through December. And then December's pay comes in a little bit earlier. And that's going to take you through the whole 8 months called January.
Mm-hmm. Crucial point to bring up this point, considering that Black Friday, as everyone knows it, or White Friday, is this week.
Is it?
You don't want to take all of your money or most of it and just splurge it in this one day.
Mm-mm. Look, there may be some really cool bargains that you want to get a hold of, but hopefully you've been budgeting towards it.
Absolutely, budget for it.
There we go. It's 7:15. Today we're tackling a critical global issue, waste management. Research shows that municipal solid waste generation is set to skyrocket from 2.1 billion tons in 2023 to a staggering 3.8 billion tons by 2050. The economic burden is just as alarming, with the global cost of waste management projected to double from $361 billion in 2020, factoring in the hidden costs of pollution, health risks, and climate change, to an estimated $640 billion by 2050. Joining us this morning on the show to discuss the issue is the marketing director at Interwaste, Kate Stubbs, on video as well. Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast Rush.
Good morning, Nicole. Good morning to your listeners. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you on the program. Waste management, is there a cheat sheet on how consumers and businesses can better manage their waste?
Absolutely. I mean, those numbers you've just given are staggering. I don't even think if we can really understand how big they are. Just a bit of context, that 2.1 billion tons of waste, if we pack them into shipping containers, we would be able to circle the equator 25 times. I mean, that's huge amounts of waste, and that's just in our household waste. So I think the cheat sheet starts with avoiding waste. With Black Friday coming up, or White Friday, as you said, this drive of consumerism, we actually want to steer clear of that and start looking at being more responsible with how we purchase things. So avoid waste is a start. And if you are creating waste, we like to encourage people to find ways to or rather reduce it, but then reuse and recycle it. And if you can't do that, then we'll look at treating it. It's typically getting into the more hazardous types of waste from industry where we want to treat it. And our final option with waste should be safe disposal. So every bit of waste and every item that we're creating, be it, there's also liquid waste. We've got to think a lot about our water. We really want people to reduce their consumption, and then where it is created, look at reusing or recycling it.
Now, when it comes to the role of the municipalities, do you think we have the right policies that help us stay on top of this from a South African context?
We certainly have the right policies now. Our regulations in the waste sector are quite new, but we have the right policies. Our challenge is enforcement and consistent implementation. We are very reliant on our municipalities to provide the services, waste services and collection services to our households and communities. And sadly, in South Africa, only 60% of communities still receive a regular waste service. So that in itself is a big problem, because 40% of our households and communities aren't getting a service. What is happening with that waste? I mean, that's just one of the challenges we have in terms of so much illegal dumping and pollution happening in our environment.
Absolutely. Tell us, Kate, what solutions can we employ to help us turn our waste into resource? Please share an example or two.
Yeah, I think there's quite a few exciting things happening in the space. So a good example is, we like to see waste as a resource. So even in your own homes, your compost, your food waste, turn that into a compost. But some exciting examples, one of the ones, a new one, is called the My Walk initiative. So healthcare risk waste, often your uncontaminated drips and PVC materials in hospitals just go to landfill disposal. Well, between NECCA and Adcock Ingram, they started a My Walk initiative where they're taking that waste and they're converting it into, repurposing it into school shoes. And so far, they've provided over 230,000 pairs of school shoes to children in need. And it's these exciting examples that continue to inspire us. There's so much to be done across different waste streams. It's really just challenging us to think differently. And that's that shift we're talking to the circular economy. Our businesses are set up to take, make waste. And now we're saying, where waste, we'll firstly design waste out the system, and where it's created, what can we do with it? So from your plastics, your bottles, your papers, there's so many little solutions that we can reuse them as a resource now.
Kate, in a country with its unique energy challenges, how important is it to explore alternative solutions like refuse-derived fuel?
Very much so. I think we're all very aware of our energy crisis, and we've seen we in the just energy transition. We've seen a lot of solar and wind plants going up, but one of the ones we want to be included in the mix, the energy mix, is waste to energy. There are proven technologies globally that can take different types of waste, from hazardous to just general waste, and convert that into an energy. So that's something we believe as a country we need to explore further, and that's going to be through partnerships, public-private partnerships with our various municipalities and government.
As a final question this morning, given the urgent need for climate action, how can investments in waste-to-energy projects contribute to reducing South Africa and Africa's carbon footprint?
Yeah, I think the exciting thing with the waste-to-energy solutions is waste is typically, if we're lucky, ending up in a safe landfill. But waste in a landfill is creating methane gas, greenhouse gas emissions. So by taking that waste that is otherwise being disposed of and converting it into an energy, you're solving two problems. You're reducing our usage on fossil fuel. I mean, we know South Africa our energy system is still very reliant on coal, and the carbon emissions from that are extremely high. So by taking waste and converting that into a resource, you're taking waste from a landfill and you're reducing those carbon emissions there, and you're also reducing the carbon emissions from fossil fuel. So it has a double benefit for us.
Absolutely. Kate Stubbs, thank you very much for your time this morning and bringing valuable information to our listeners. We always appreciate you making time for us. Have a wonderful day going forward.
You too. Thank you.
There we go. Naz, I think we can start taking our waste, those that we can use, and start making school shoes. Mm-hmm. I'd love to find out how that works.
You can, reuse it. Yeah. And there's so many benefits as well. It's incredible to see the amount of companies literally in and around our areas that are taking initiative and actually rewarding you for saving the environment.
Absolutely. This environment, the one that we're enjoying right now, that's the only one we get.
Absolutely.
So we got to take care of it. In a nutshell, it's your breakfast rush. If you're watching the video, thank you very much for doing that. Remember, Facebook and on YouTube. You could go on to, I want to say SoundCloud, but I know that's the wrong place for our, what do you call us? Podcasts? Yeah. Spotify. There you go. You can go on to Spotify, type in Radio Al Ansar or Al Ansar Radio, type in The Breakfast Rush, and you can find all of our podcasts right there. So if you missed an interview or two on wait, don't type in TBR, because apparently there's an artist on Spotify called TBR.
What? That's news to me.
No, we just did that in the studio right now. Zach typed in the letters TBR, and there's this artist that comes up, and he's got a hard style remix of a track called Paradise. Okay. We're not going to listen to that right now. No. If it was the weekend, then maybe we could have played it. Weekend, because during the week, especially in the morning, you can't get away with it.
The Breakfast Rush, brought to you courtesy of the Willow Tin Group, at the forefront of innovation and one of the leading